For the first time in my life, I feel completely lost. I'm scared. I've been dealing with anxiety lately, and I simply don't know what to do. I feel paralyzed. So basically, I'm 18, almost 19, and I finished school 3 months ago. The summer pause, it's almost ending. And since I finished school 3 months ago, I was pretty certain about the future I wanted to choose. Actually, I was not pretty certain, but I was. So, my parents always wanted me to go to university and to proceed studying further than 12th grade. And I never saw any interest on that, but I actually never thought about an option. I never thought about a plan B, so I just let things go while I grew up. My parents always put pressure on me to choose wisely and to understand more about myself and to see what I like so I could make a more informed decision when this time came. But I didn't do much of it and I just let things go. Well, that time came, and when I asked myself who I was and what I actually enjoyed, I actually got an answer, but it's not even an answer I could tell my parents because they will never understand. And I just had to keep it to myself and go with the flow, I guess, right? So the answer is I know that I don't want to work a 9 to 5 ever. Actually, not ever, but I don't want to spend my life working on a 9 to 5 on a normal job like at a company with a boss. I want to earn money for myself as a self employed person, like either with my own business or my company. I want to build something, create, and make money like that. I do not want to work for somebody else for the rest of my life at all. That's like a nightmare for me. But I couldn't even tell that to my parents because they simply don't understand. Like in their minds, it's just I have to choose a job to do for the rest of my life at 18 and just stick with that. And it has to be a normal job like firefighter or policeman or, I don't know, scientist or astronaut or teacher. Yeah. And I didn't want any of those. So the plan I established for myself was to not tell my parents what my dreams actually were, and I still haven't, and just go to university like they wanted me to, since they are gonna pay for all the expenses, which is a privilege most people don't have. I luckily do. Even though I don't want to go, I will go to make them happy while they pay for everything. And while I'm in university, I'm just gonna try to focus on my businesses and on my dreams and on my projects, just like this YouTube channel. And while I am taking my degree, I'm just going to try to grow my businesses as much as possible. So when those 3 years come to an end, it's the time it takes to take my degree. I have something going on for myself and can just keep living with my dreams and keep doing my stuff the way I want. And I accepted that idea pretty quickly. I didn't think about it much. I thought about it like for 2 weeks, but I didn't stress over it. And I think it is easy for me to not stress about the future much. That's why it's the first time I actually felt so lost in my life because I usually don't. I usually just chill and think that everything's gonna be okay and everything's gonna work out. And when I finished this plan of going to uni to make my parents happy, and while I was there just trying to focus on my projects and try to grow as much as possible, felt okay. I was doing a plan B, which is university. If everything went wrong with my projects, I would still have a degree that could, project me a little better on the market. And if everything went right, I could, live the way I wanted with my projects. But 3 days ago, something just invaded my mind in such a crazy way that I can't even live no more. I just can't think about anything else. Like, that's all I think 24/7. And it's driving me crazy. I'm feeling anxious, lost, scared. And what that thing is, it's actually the fact that I don't want to go to university. But then it's even more complex than that because I also don't want to miss out on some benefits of going to university. So I'm going to try to be quick because it's way more complex than what I am able to explain in only one video. But basically, I do not want to go to university because I don't care about the degree. I don't care about whatever I'm going to learn. I don't even want to work on that area. I don't even want a normal job like a 9 to 5 job, which is what the degree I'm gonna take provides me. So I don't want any of it, but I am scared to not go, to start working, making my own money, which is something that attracts me, and keep doing my project on the side. But instead of being on the side of university, it's gonna be on the side of my job that is generating me money. I am scared that if I choose that option, I'm gonna look back in 3 years and be alone. I'm scared that I'm not gonna have any friends, that my social life is gonna be fucked. I'm scared because now I have a nice amount of friends, some more close than others. Still, I don't have any problems with my social life because I used to go to school every day for 15 years. So every day I was forced to go to a place where there were hundreds of people in my situation at my age with the same interests as me. It was so easy to just make friends. So when I was in school, I had like dozens, if not hundreds of friends. I'm a very sociable person, so I talk to everyone. And when I was outside of school, I just needed to choose some of those dozens of friends, the ones I identified the most with, simply hanging out with them. And that was easy. But I'm scared that if I choose the path of working and going to a job, I'm gonna isolate myself because on an adult routine where you have to work, you don't have time to hang out as much, you don't have time to meet new people. You don't even are in a place to meet new people on your day-to-day basis, contrarily to university. And I'm scared that I'm gonna look back in 3 years when I'm 22 and feel alone and feel isolated, which is something that, in my mind at least, it's more unlikely to happen if I go to university because, it's 3 years where I'm surrounded by people my age every day. There's that myth, I don't know if it's a myth or not, but there's that belief that university is the peak life, right? It's where you enjoy your life the most, where you go to parties, where you make your friends for life, where you have all the crazy experiences. And I am actually scared to miss on that. I'm literally suffering from FOMO, the classic fear of missing out. I've always heard this word. It's not a word, it's an expression. I've always heard it and thought, who suffers from that? Like, this is crazy. If you don't want to go to the party, just don't go. If you want to go, go. Because most of the times this is used in more trivial situations like should I go to the party tonight or not, but I'm actually suffering from it in a way bigger scale, right? So I'm looking at the next 3 years of my life and what I'm gonna miss out on those. 3 years is a lot of time and you can't go back in time. So I'm afraid. I'm afraid to go to university and look back and think, damn, I actually wasted 3 years. I took a degree that I didn't like. I now have a diploma that I'm not going to use for anything. And even though my projects are not bad, if I had worked instead of going to uni during these 3 years, I could be in the exact same situation, but with a shit ton of money on my bank account, way more prepared for the world, way more secure. Because money matters a lot to me and I want to retire early. I want to achieve financial independence, all the types of things that I think people my age want. On the other hand, I'm also scared to go find a job and in 3 years look back and think, well, I feel alone. I should have went to university. I'm 22 and I missed out on 3 of the best years of my life. I didn't go to parties, I didn't make any friends, I didn't talk to new people. And yeah. And then there are even other aspects that scare me a lot. Like, the problem with anxiety is that you suffer from the unknown. And in this case, there are like several possible ways that my life can roll into. And things can go extremely well, but extremely wrong. Like, there's also the possibility of me not going to university, deciding to not go, and go finding a job. And, my plan is to stay on that job for 3 years and collect as much money as I can, not spend almost anything, invest all of it. And then in those 3 years, I'm gonna have like loaded bank account, really more safe, really more secure. And I'm gonna be ready to move on to the next thing, to the next step in my life. But there's also the possibility of me giving up on uni, going for that job, and like 6 months later being fired, and then not being able to find another job and stay employed and without being in university. So, that's probably one of the worst case scenarios, I think. But and it's just driving me crazy. The more I think, the more possibilities I find. And the more possibilities I find, the more I think. And I just keep getting on this cycle where I can't decide what I'm gonna do. And it's just so scary because before this, where this doubt didn't exist in my head, I was gonna choose only way that exists there and it was gonna be okay. But now that this doubt appeared, now that there are 2 possible ways in my head, and I can't decide between one or the other, regardless of the way that I choose for me, I'm always gonna have that feeling that I'm missing out on stuff by not choosing the other one. Like, now that's gonna happen. Like, that's something that I can't change or control. And it's crazy. I'm gonna talk to my psychologist about this because it's actually nuts. I know I am still in a very privileged position, okay? I'm 18 years old and my parents have the possibilities to pay for my college. And also, if I choose to go to work, they can help me, I can live with them, they're gonna pay the bills, all that good stuff for a teenager to start their life, their career. It's always easier than having to, move houses as soon as you start working. Then you can't collect as much money as you could. And, you can't build your emergency fund as easy. So I know I am in a very privileged position, but still I don't know what I should do in my life. YouTube, you know, this channel, it's a big bet that I'm making, not in terms of costs, because I'm not spending any money for this and I don't spend that much time on it. I try to do this every day, and every video takes me like 3 or 4 hours max, which is still a lot, but it's something I enjoy. And as I said, it's still a bet that I'm making. But I really wanted this to work, because if it did, you know, regardless of me having chosen to go to uni or to go work, if this worked out, I would just quit any of those. I would quit university and I would quit my job and just focus on this. But for that to happen, you know, this would have to work out. And, you know, I know it's a long journey. It might take 2 months or 2 years, or it might actually never happen. There is still a lot more nuances to the situation that I'm going through. And as I said, I can explain them all in one video, because, you know, it's still very complex. I'm a human, it's my life. My life, it's different from any other person's life. So, you know, it's complex because of that. But yeah, if you're feeling lost as well in your life, you can feel free to leave it in the comments. Maybe I can relate to something, and maybe, I don't know, maybe you can help me feel less alone. I know we all have our problems, and I know that my problems are so fucking small compared to some people's problems right now. I know my life is amazing. I have actually nothing to complain. I have health, I have a family, I have possibilities money-wise. You know, my parents can pay for my studies. My parents can help me if I choose to go to work. I am very privileged, but still, we all have our problems, and this is actually driving me crazy. I've never felt so lost in my life. It's like I was not ready for life to knock at the door so quick. And it all of a sudden did. Like, I just woke up 3 days ago and actually realized, yo, the decision I'm about to make, it's big. It's gonna influence the next 3 years of my life. And those are years that I can't go back in. I can't go back in time and change them. So I know life is not gonna be ruined because of a decision I make now. I know I'm young. I have time. I have time to make mistakes, to get up and try again. But still, we always want to do the best thing, right? We always want to choose the best decision possible, right? So I'm no different from you guys. I'm no different from that. Thank you for listening to me. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.